everyone. If you're new to my channel, my name is Mandy Meehan and I make videos all about my health journey to get over chronic illness, and I talk about food, my relationship with Jesus, and all kinds of other things. I just talk about whatever I want to talk about. And today I'm really excited to talk to you about my journey with my relationship with food. It's funny, whenever I started my YouTube channel, I didn't think that food would be such a huge part of what I would make videos about, but it's become a huge part of my channel because I've really learned how important it is. It can be so hard to have a healthy relationship with food. Everywhere you look, people are pushing diets and hacks to lose weight, and there's clearly this horrible obesity epidemic that is just continuing to grow. So obesity is a huge problem, and then there's the other side of things where people are afraid of food or afraid of calories, or they're restricting calories, or they have some kind of disordered eating. Those kinds of things are seeming to get worse sometimes and not better, and it's a massive problem. Recently, I got a really nice comment from someone saying they can tell I have a really good relationship with food and was asking for me to talk about it. I definitely have not always had a good relationship with food. At some points, I would say my relationship with food wasn't that healthy. When I think back to my childhood, my mom cooked pretty healthy for us. We ate our fruits, we ate our vegetables most of the time, and my mom was definitely health conscious to an extent, so she fed us pretty good food. But in my home, I still managed to eat lots of things like cereal and Oreos and pancakes and just tons and tons of sugar. Pretty much every Friday we would have pizza day. My dad would bring like Papa John's pizza, you know, with those little garlic packets, and he would bring cherry Dr. Pepper, which was my favorite drink ever. I loved Papa John's pizza and cherry Dr. Pepper. And also growing up, I was really active. I danced many hours a week. So I was always in really good, good shape and didn't ever think about food because it never really affected me. I could basically eat whatever I wanted. As I, went into like more middle school and high school and got to really choose what I wanted to eat when I went out with friends, you guys, I'm convinced I ate more than some teenage boys. There were certain times where I did eat more than teenage boys, and people would make fun of me because of that, and I loved it because I was just known for eating so much food. I would eat the entire pizza. I would always get like big bacon cheeseburgers. I had a rule, I had to finish the entire burger. I'd eat all the fries, I would get soda, and then an hour later I'd be hungry, so I'd go get an ice cream sandwich. That was my life. Someone would make brownies and I would keep going back for seconds, then thirds, and my friends would look at me and be like, "How are you so little?" And I'd just be like, "Oh, I guess it's a dance," or whatever. So because of that, I didn't really have a reason to think that much about food. I just need you guys to understand like how big of an eater I was. So there were a couple different times where I did like a cake eating competition with guys. One time it was me against this other 16-year-old boy. I was 16 at the time, and I was like, man, I just love this cake. I'd already had like a couple pieces. I was like, I could totally beat someone in a cake eating competition. So he was like, you're on. It's probably 8 pieces of cake later, I won the cake eating competition. I was so happy. Yes, I bragged about that for as long as I could. I was kind of sick to my stomach for the next couple days and had a hard time eating much after that, but it was worth it, or at least that's what I thought at the time. It's pretty amazing. I ate all that cake. I didn't think at all about the sugar. I mean, I didn't even think about like the calories or anything like that. So a while later, I remember noticing my body starting to change a little bit. A lot of it was probably just I was just maturing, but I would notice my thighs are a little bit bigger than they used to be. Or I don't want to talk too much about that stuff, but all of a sudden I realized like I've probably put on a couple pounds, which was probably a very healthy couple of pounds, but this is where things started to go awry. So I realized, okay, I really hope to be lean and healthy, so I better start looking into food a little bit. So that's when I discovered MyFitnessPal and therefore discovered calories. I had no idea. I really don't think I ever thought about calories before. I had no idea that the burgers I was eating all the time were like, you know, 1,500 calories or whatever. I'm like, I'm eating like an entire day's worth of food in this one meal. And then I have ice cream afterwards. I had no idea. You know, then I do what all of us tend to do. Started going to Google, going to Pinterest, and seeing all these like 1,200 calorie diets. And I thought, like, I guess I need to do something like this. So it was interesting. At the point that I tried to start eating healthier, that's where things really began to get unhealthy in my mind. And I get so passionate about this when people talk about food and diet, whether it's to get healthy or if it's to lose weight or whatever your reasons are. I know how easy it is to slip into that unhealthy mindset. So I wasn't a crazy calorie counter, and I didn't want anyone to know I was counting calories. I mean, I kind of knew that can appear unhealthy because I really did not need to lose any weight at all at that point. But I had that body dysmorphia where I thought I did. So I remember very quickly, I was very, very aware of every single bite I put into my mouth. And then I'd feel guilty if I ate more than what I thought I should probably eat. And that kind of went on for a while. It's funny to me thinking about the foods that I ate trying to be healthy. A lot of them were good foods, but I remember going across the street from work to pick up some lunch, and I got a really high sugar protein bar and one of those naked smoothie drinks. That total was maybe like 70 grams of sugar. I don't know how much it was, something crazy. It was pure processed carbs. That's not the worst thing you can have, but in my opinion now, that's not the most healthful thing. It's not very balanced. No. Then I moved out of the house and I was really excited about having total control of my food. I just thought to myself, now I can eat really, really healthy and I can pick whatever I want, and it still really wasn't that healthy, but I was eating a lot of diety foods. And all of a sudden I started really being known for eating healthy. For so long I was known for eating whatever I wanted, and now I was known for eating really healthy. And at first I was kind of like, I like being the girl that can eat all the food, and people were like, oh wow, that's amazing, how do you do that? You're not that little salad girl. I started liking how people would comment on like, oh wow, you're eating so healthy. People would make really funny comments to me. One time I was eating like a Kind snack bar. One of my coworkers was like, what? And they're like, oh, I thought you were eating a candy bar. And I'm like, nope, just a Kind bar. And they're like, oh, well, I thought you were eating some junk food. I was totally eating tons of bread at this time. I was not gluten-free yet. And I remember my boss coming into a room going, whoa, you're eating bread? And I was like, I eat bread all the time. There were these sugary Panera bagels. I was just eating so much of that bagel. My camera died. It's annoying. So basically, if a food had like healthy on the labeling, or was a salad or fruit, then I was like, that's great, I'm gonna eat that. And again, this is still better than a lot of things you could be eating, and this isn't about like whether or not I was eating a good diet necessarily, but my mindset was like, I need to eat healthy food that is supposed to be healthy, so that I'm healthy and not overweight. Really, I didn't know how much that food impacts your hormones and your mood and every single function of your body. I just didn't know. So fast forward a little bit, this is a part of my story that I haven't said on camera before, and I've been debating, but it's okay. So when I was in high school, I knew my hormones were a problem because I started my period really late and then stopped for a very long time. I've wondered, is it TMI to talk about your period on camera? First of all, most of the people who watch my videos fly. Most of y'all are females, but for the small percentage of dudes, women have periods. I'm sorry. So I wasn't having my period for a long period of time, and I knew that was a problem and I wanted to fix it, and I didn't know what to do. The doctors I saw didn't really help at all, but I did some Googling, of course, and read that gluten could be potentially causing hormonal imbalances for people. So I decided I'm gonna go gluten-free for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna see if it makes any kind of difference whatsoever. It was legitimately 1 or 2 days in, it was so soon after being gluten-free, my period started. I was really excited about this. This is why I went gluten-free in the first place, and clearly it was so evident that that was a culprit. So I decided it is worth it for me to feel better to make this change in my life. I had some weird health issues back then, not nearly anything as significant as now, but I made that connection that I would rather be well than have normal bread or pizza. If I really want bread or pizza, I can still get gluten-free pizza and I'll be fine, you know? So that's when I went gluten-free. And really, I think that change in my body really started getting me to think about how food affects us. So I started learning more about food and how it works and whatnot, but my pursuit of educating myself completely changed whenever I got mono, and then whenever I got very ill and continued to be chronically ill. So there's so much I can talk about, and this video is going to be very long, but once I started really educating myself about the importance of nutrients, of whole foods, of how it affects every function, that's whenever my mentality started to change and I started viewing food in a healthy manner. I stopped thinking about calories and having the perfect portions. It wasn't about a math equation, it wasn't about a number. It was about eating well to feel well, using food as medicine. My diet is very restricted right now because I can't tolerate a lot of foods, but the more that I learn about the foods that are beneficial versus the foods that are toxic, I love eating well, and I have a better relationship with food than ever because I'm excited to feed my body vegetables and healthy fats and good carbs and quality sources of protein, because I will be better because of it. There's so much I can talk about. If I were to give you a resource, one of the books that's helped me the most and I recommend to people all the time that really helps you learn what the right foods are and also how to have that healthy relationship with food where you understand that it's not all about calories. That is messed up. It's not just about eating the right number. It's about eating the right kinds of foods. The book, The Calorie Myth by Jonathan Baylor, I absolutely loved it. I also listened to his podcast. It's great as well. I believe it's called The Sane Show. I'll link the book and the podcast in the description. That is a great resource to learn more about having that healthy relationship with food, but knowing which foods are actually beneficial, and it's good to know too which foods are toxic. It's very good to know too that restricting your calories can make you worse. The world so often tells us you just need to eat less and exercise more, and then you'll be happy, and then you'll be at the weight and the health or whatever that you want to be at. And if that was true, most of us would be thin and healthy, but we're not. So clearly I care about this topic. I know this is kind of like a long story picture of my journey and my relationship with food and eating philosophies and the kinds of foods that you choose to eat and that are beneficial for your bodies. Some of those things will change from person to person. So this is really my personal experience. I never had an eating disorder. I feel like at some points my view was a little bit disordered, but I know this is such a huge issue for people, and I just want to help you know that you can have freedom from being obsessed with food. Really, that's a sin, being obsessed with food, whether it's not eating a lot or eating a ton or overthinking it. That's considered gluttony. And God has given us all these resources. He's given us our bodies, which is his temple, and we need to steward it. If you stuck around to watch this whole video, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you maybe got something from it. I'd love to do more videos just talking about things. So if you have a topic you'd like me to talk about, please let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you, and I will see you in another video soon. Bye. Bye.